Hello, everyone. So thank you for joining. Today is May 8th, 2026. Welcome to another Open Cluster Management Community Meetings. We have a lot of folks on the call today. We have Kahio Kun, and then we have Anne, Woke, Ziwei, August, and Luke, and myself, Mikey. On the agenda today, we have August, who's gonna demo something that we're really excited about, OCM UI, but with using the Headlamp, a UI CNCF project that is enable plugin extensible integration with all the other Kubernetes ecosystem projects to have a UI that is a little bit more modular and provides full features. And we want OCM to be part of that. So August have taken the liberty and did some experimentation on it, and he's gonna show us all the good stuff.
Yeah.
August.
Sure. So yeah, we all started chatting about this in Slack, right? The whole UI thing, because we already had a UI that we have one that is cool and it's in the lab. And I might actually, what I might do is bring up my screen and see if we can't look at that. All right, sharing the screen. Desktop 2. Okay. Never know what things are in the way, but hopefully you can see it clearly and it's recorded and everything.
We
So
can
in the
see the
lab, yeah, we have this cool dashboard project that was put together by Zhao a little while back. We had been chatting a bit about wouldn't it be neat to have a UI? And so he hacked this together, which was super cool because it allows you to, so from my perspective, to easily show what OCM can do. And that's really kind of the first thing. It was just, look, let's have a neat way to display what can happen. Um, and many projects have one, so it was kind of neat to get to that. And then when we went to I went to KubeCon in Amsterdam, and there was a talk from these folks at Headlamp, and I guess this has been sort of adopted as the the Kubernetes UI. I mean, you can use what you want, but it was sort of neat, and they have this whole plugin system where you can actually build it. You can build a plugin for your project and just add it to it. And as you can see, it's kind of getting some traction now. I didn't have a chance to actually chat too much with them. I was bouncing from one thing to the other, work requirements, community stuff. But finally got a chance, as you saw after some travel, to give it a try. So first warning here, I'm not a coder, right? I don't actually know how to write code to much of a degree. I used to. I used to do a lot of Python and stuff like that, and then I've sort of drifted away from that. So what I thought I'd do is work with the AI and try to learn how to do it. So I've put together a super quick 2 slides to talk about what I was trying to do and what we did. So Headlamp is a pretty easy to use system where you can simply build a plugin to plug things in. So I sat down with Claude in this case and began asking questions to Claude about how this would work, to explain to me what Headlamp is, how the code looks, what's happening there. I didn't at first say just create me a plugin, and that would have been easy, but I asked a ton of questions to learn about it. And then this was the outcome of what I asked it to build. And then I also, of course, asked Claude to write these points because I thought it would be fun to see the very official way to do it. So we built a headlamp plugin for OCM. It looks at the managed cluster list, so it's really simple and just gives you the basics that you want to see. It detects if something's a hub and shows the bits and pieces. And then I thought, okay, I need to put this together and actually show and actually submit it. So I started off obviously here, which I didn't bring up. Sorry about that. Here we go. So I built it in my own repo here and just kind of played with it, worked with different things. I already had a kind OCM setup, which literally comes from the OCM steps, the wonderful stuff that are, I think Hal wrote them. So really cool stuff that already existed. So I had something ready to go. So I got Claude to work on that and build out the bits and pieces to do it. Um, and so here's what the actual AI assisted development went like, and then I'll share what it's like. So we went from a like nothing to a working plugin, and I had Claude follow all the rules. I had Claude look in there and find out what was necessary in the OCM side and the headlamp side to make sure it actually does it in a way that works with people, that works with the projects and fits with all the stuff. And then I thought, okay, I should open up a request, which I didn't do, bad me, until after. So there is a proposal here because I wanted Claude and myself, I wanted it to teach me how to actually go through this process. So I said, what would I do next? What happens now? Why do I do this? And so we went through all these bits and pieces where we even got to play. I got to see how CodeRabbit worked. I think I shared something with Mike at one point where CodeRabbit was angry at me for submitting something in a certain way, and he's like, "That's normal." So I was able to go back and forward between Claude telling me what was going on, real humans explaining the back end, and then me just doing a lot of learning from that to result in this working plugin. So what we have now is a proposal written to explain everything that's there and an official PR, which is, where is that? That is here. So now everyone can go in and have a look at exactly what we're doing. Now it was neat because Claude asked me things like it said, or CodeRabbit said I needed to have that heading on a pull request. I didn't actually see a lot of that in other ones that were done. And so it was kind of good, right? To be able to actually be guided through the process and explained all this stuff, but to also submit a very clean PR. Now it still has problems and stuff like that, but I said to Claude, let's okay, this is neat. We built this together. What does it look like? And so what actually comes out of it is this. So this is Headlamp, and what we can now see is that you can see I have a couple of clusters running. Some of it picked up from kubeconfigs, and then I have always this. But then I have, I think that's because Docker needs a bounce. But then I have a view into what's going on with my cluster. So I can even see the plugin. I can see the status of things that are joined. And remember, I made this really simple because I said to Claude, if you do too much, I'm going to get confused. But now I can start to see all the bits and pieces that are existing within Headlamp in like a real setup. And this is really neat because like I'm peering into how Kubernetes is working. And remember, I'm not a coder. I come from the sysadmin and product side. And so I'm always learning as to how this kind of stuff hooks together. And so with Headlamp, I'm now able to kind of to look into all the different pieces that are existing inside this and take advantage of what's going on, learn where things are, see what they do, and I can even do things to them, right? I can create pods, I can make stuff out of it. And then what I was asking the team as well as asking in Slack is, do people use something like this? Because if we have an OCM plugin next to your GitOps plugin and all the other ones, you get this less chair swiveling, right? So Headlamp provides this ability to have everything sitting in one spot, and that's kind of neat. And I kind of liked playing with that. And then I purposely wanted to stop, and I thought, okay, now Mike's going to tell me I have to share this, and this is going to be scary because I'm going to do what I'm doing right now, and put this out there. Because, like I said, I don't fully understand the back end of how it came together, as far as the bits and pieces of the code, but because I knew what I wanted, I was able to actually start to get a really good picture of how this is working. And so now I want to see if we can bring it in and then just start adding to it, right? I think there was already a comment that the code isn't too bad. Thank you. um, Thank Claude. But this is a great place for someone who's either new to a community submission, or even new to getting deep into code to actually play. Because at this point, we can go into it and have a look around. That's mostly what I want to share. I didn't want to take up too much time, and I don't want to sort of pretend that I've come up with some brand new solution to user interfaces for OCM. But I did want to share this and see if what people thought, and if it's a way we might want to think about going. And then, of course, because it exists now as a PR, maybe it's something we play with and get some smarter eyes across. So, what does everyone think? I mean, yeah, that's where I'm at. There you go, clapping hands.
I think it's great,
I
August. I'm really happy to see that we're investing in an open source kind of UI for this. This is great.
Yeah. And again, it's what I love about Headlamp is it's very community, right? So I really like the standalone one. There wasn't really, I mean, Headlamp's been around, but there's too much for us, I feel at times, to own when people are busy, they've got lives, stuff like that. So if we can use a plugin system that something's agreed on, and I think we can have both, this allows people to come along and just go, oh, okay, I've got some OCM. In fact, I could write a guide that wraps this around the easy steps to set up the local cluster. And say, oh, and now run this, and you'll be able to view it. And then I think we have a neat little package that gets people started. So um, the PR is there, and I suppose now that I've shared it properly and you kind of see why I'm doing this, again, I'm not trying to replace the other work. I think we should still investigate other work because, like Anne, you were mentioning that there's stuff that you're already doing, and so maybe that's a better way to go. But let's get it out there and see how we can sort of make this a thing. So we have this useful front end that starts as more of a pretty front end, but I think there's a really useful thing here because um, it will allow everybody, yeah, it'll allow you to work with your other projects and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, curious if this would fit into a real working enterprise, right? I'm not a day-to-day admin, so what do you guys think?
Yeah,
This is
and what
fun,
I
isn't it?
also like about Headlamp is that it's got its own multi-cluster ability as well. So it
Right.
can show the control planes of other clusters that it can is there. Yeah, so it's got
Yeah.
its
Oops.
own multi-cluster view as well. So I think that really
Yeah.
helps as well.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? So these are some old ones I had sitting around, one I had broken. So yeah, I agree. Right? See? It's even aware, and I haven't actually set it up yet because it's still in my. I got Claude to clean that up. When I started this, I had 155 different configs. Whoops. That's what happens when you let a
and
product person play with this stuff. It was
and
fun.
and I'm quite interested in your opinions and your thoughts on this. I understand you wanted to one of your use case was the manifest work replica set deploys a certain workload, and you want to be able to dig into that workload and triage it if there is something wrong, right? Do you think, given that what you have seen, or maybe you have done a little bit of research, this project is capable of doing something similar like that?
Yeah, I think I'm just curious, and this is me not knowing anything from Headlamp, so I'm coming from that angle. Where, like, because right now I know that when you install the OCM dashboard, you install it with the hub, and then it sort of is aware of, I guess, the workloads only on the hub. I think it doesn't have permissions to the spoke clusters, right? So the way we've built out the manifest work replica set dashboard, I think that only shows resources like that have populated up from the manifest work and the manifest work replica set. So what I'm seeing from Headlamp is that we can actually get, real workload data. And as I think someone else mentioned, that you have the cross cluster view of like all the different clusters, right? So that does help. And I think with the map view that someone shared in the Slack thread, like we can
Yeah,
really like click into it seems like we would be able to click into like manifest work replica set from here if I understood like that YouTube video that was shared.
yeah,
Like we would be able to probably have a layer above this, right? That goes manifest work replica set, manifest work deployment replica pod. Um, Again, I don't know, I guess, how the headlamp stuff is set up enough. Like,
mm,
is it would we, I guess like if you're thinking about Headlamp, like would this deploy sort of with the hub in a production environment and then that hub would have access to the spoke clusters as well in order to give that multi-cluster view? Or would it be
That's
deployed
yeah, that's
standalone?
not how this is running. This is on my Mac, so it's actually, as you can see, it's running locally and just pulling in the different bits and pieces. So that's
Yeah.
a good question for us to talk about. Um, would it be good on the hub to run the UI there, or is it better to have a decentralized UI that's running
Mhm.
from, I don't know. It's a great
Yeah, that's
question.
also what I'm thinking. Like we can either
Mm,
go one way, like one per, I think for example, Argo workflows, you run like one per controller. That's sort of how the UI works. But I'm curious like how the headlamp deployment model works usually.
mm,
Yeah, so in the sense where the multi-cluster view here, it's not driven through the OCM
mm.
inventory, right? Like this is essentially reading off the qconfig. So
Yeah.
this is not linked to the OCM registry, at least not yet. So
Mhm.
I don't know if it's pop. I don't know, and most likely it's pop. It might be quite a bit of a challenge to link the OCM inventory to that multi-cluster view of Headlamp. It's more likely that we're gonna have to do
Well,
within this space here if we were
but I
gonna
think
do
it's,
something on
yeah,
that.
I think you're right, but I think it's doing it right. It took the, where is that? It took the cluster view, right? Uh, so right, it's trying to see it. So it says if I find a cluster is at a hub, um, it looks to see if it has all the bits and pieces, and then what was it doing? It does scan through. Well, when you look at what Headlamp's doing, it is picking up the clusters that are managed. There's no hub there, right? It does. It's not. It's only telling you the man. So we would just have to add what you're talking about, I think, into the plugin, and that's where we need the use cases like Anne's talking about.
So just a dumb question again, like the plugin is just this OCM part, right? So everything above OCM, like apps, custom resource, configuration, security, that's the open source stuff, is that right?
Yeah, it's it,
Okay.
it's I think so, and that's where we're starting to use what's already coming with Headlamp to dig into it, and then we would accentuate it with that. You're asking questions I was scared someone would ask.
No, those are the good questions, right? Because I
Yeah,
think what would be super powerful is what Anne was kind of alluded to, like in the OCM view. Like if you go back to the OCM view, you know how
yeah,
it automatically register all those managed clusters, which is what we want.
yeah,
But if we can click into cluster one,
right.
and then instead of on the left here, instead of kind hub cluster two, it becomes
Mm,
cluster one. Like that,
yeah,
if we can do that, then everything is magical, and we
and
probably
this,
need the decentralized, thing. But
hmm
to go from clicking here and then
hmm
switching the view to cluster one, like
then
that.
you're into
Now,
this,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. That is the
and like,
part that I'm not sure about. I mean,
yeah,
Kahilo, you probably have the most experience in with using Headlamp out of all of us. What do
hmm
you think? Eager to hear your opinions as well.
So, what are you asking me?
No, I was asking Kahil because
Oh,
Kahil developed
and
the
Tia-san, if you want to write, if you want to
yeah,
type, we can do that more in a if it's easier.
Sorry, I'm not understand that oral talk, but I typed in chat. Maybe this information will help your vibe
Here it is.
coding or discussion. Could you see the chat?
Yes, I put
Yes.
it
Mm.
on the screen. Thank you.
Yeah.
yes.
I'm I have built a multi-cluster UI in Headlamp before, and I know, yeah, yeah, in OCM Headlamp plugin, now you maybe use list variable is empty, but we can pass like this clusters parameter, and we can get all resource in their cluster, and which cluster is which resource is from which cluster we can uh, now under fully control. So I think one UI in Hub cluster, one aggregated UI in Hub cluster is very important for user experience, and we can maybe we can easily to build that in Headlamp because Headlamp already supported.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm hearing is that, yeah, I'm not passing in enough. And in theory, once we could have a map, and this is what Anne was talking about, that has like a whole manifest work, and you could actually track the whole thing. And we
Yeah,
basically get that as part of Headlamp once we're putting the right things in the plugin, right?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So
And if some feature is not enough in Headlamp, you can write a GitHub issue in Headlamp. Headlamp have many maintainers and many full-time maintainers, so they will help you.
Hmm.
exactly. And I not only we need to do the work on the headlamp side, like what we just discussed, August, but
Mm.
in OCM, we'll probably need to do some work
Right.
such as like providing the managed service account so that it has access to the managed clusters.
Hmm.
So in here, if you go back to the headlamp multi-cluster selection, so right now it's going off of the two
Mm.
configs, for example. So it's probably if let's assume this headlamp is deployed on the hub, it's probably reading this list of clusters from something, right? And then we'll
Um,
probably need some kind of controller or some aggregator that collects the managed service accounts so that it has access to those clusters, and those becomes the either the config or some type of authentication to register it as a inventory for head. So
mm.
there's some backend works that's probably gonna need it too outside of this headlamp. And then I feel like based on what Kahio just mentioned, along with managed service account, along with maybe that controller, we can get that resolved, and it'll be quite beautiful. It'll be a really really powerful UI. Because with that, it'll be similar to just clicking here and then seeing all those clusters.
Boom.
Because if you
Yeah.
click on kind cluster one, what happened? If you go click on kind cluster,
Yeah, exactly right. I haven't it won't let me in because
oh, okay,
it does yeah, it's
okay.
not set up. But what you're saying, I get it. Yeah, I get what you're both saying. And this I think aligns, Anne, with what you because then you can just add even the code you have already could maybe then just be bundled in underneath the plugin so everyone can benefit from it.
Yeah, I mean, we wrote code honestly from Claude. We were trying to unblock customers on our side
Yeah.
that wanted to have a view like this. And so we just kind of took what we had and then asked Claude
Mm.
to generate more views that they
That's
wanted.
that's good. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
But I guess one thing is like if this is more just like a like Mike, I think you were mentioning, we would have to create a service account that would have access to those spoke clusters, like I guess from the hub. Like currently the current infrastructure of OCM, there is from the hub, it doesn't have access to the spokes to call the spoke directly, right? So we would need some sort of new connectivity because what I understand it's like a push model, right? From the spokes up to the hub. So the hub can't actually, if it wanted to like get a certain resource and view that, it doesn't have those permissions right now, right?
Yeah, it doesn't by default, but OCM
Okay.
have solved that quite a while with cluster proxy, managed service account, and cluster
Yeah.
permission.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all those are optional add-ons that we can implement. So there is a essentially a push through the reverse proxy in
Okay, okay.
OCMIO as well. So that part I'm not too concerned. I
Okay,
think
so we
we
can do that, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
no, there's also through I think you mentioned connectivity with the K, and I think there's a new we actually have a new improvement using service proxy. So without even using the K connectivity, which makes it even it's kind of like a next step. I'm trying to find that document right now. Might be a blog post. Yeah, I'll link it in here. So it's even an easier way to access the managed clusters from the hub. I think that is not a blocker for OCMIO at all, so we
Okay,
should be
great. Yeah, I think this was one thing that, because when I just built off of the existing lab, I think it only has access to the hub. And then I just, I was like, that's good enough for now. But I think it would be great if when we do this, right, if it's deployed with the hub, we are able to use that reverse proxy or service proxy that gives us access from the hub deployment to see everything in the spokes. I think that would be like great from a user point of view.
Hmm.
Exactly. And actually, there's one person I forgot to ask feedback on. Our very important maintainer, Z-Way. Z-Way, what do you think about this topic? And is there any feedback that you have? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, yeah, it's great project, but I think there's not work to do. Like you said, the auth, and I did notice the add-on part in the UI. Maybe we have not works to do. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an important observation that you're all making. Yeah, this is very basic. So that was my point, to show it really simple, to get you all thinking. No, wait. So yeah, that's helpful, Zhiwei.
So,
Thank you.
Kahil just mentioned something really nice too. If Headlamp is able to support cluster inventory API, and then OCMIO is able to generate the cluster inventory API with the server's proxy and the cluster proxy and all those managed service account all set up, then it just naturally works. And not only from a plugin perspective,
Mm.
like it might actually work out of the gates. Like you just install Headlamp, and
Yeah,
then because it understands cluster inventory API, then
right.
even without the OCM plugin, you got boom, you get
From
that list.
here.
Sorry, can you go back to that list like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So even without using OCM plugin, if they understand cluster inventory API and OCM IO generate the correct cluster inventory API, then magically all this becomes OCM managed clusters without us even having to do anything. So that might be another step to take. Like we can take multiple paths, right? We can do maybe the easiest path right now is and mention the decentralized view or the manifest work replica set custom resource view, and then we can try the OCM plugin headlamp. But what is really powerful, I think, is the final solution might be what Kahio just mentioned, the cluster inventory API integration. That to
This is
me
cool.
will be really really powerful. So thank you for bringing that up, Kahio.
Thank you too.
But as the first step, I think let's continue to iterate over on August's work, and then let's submit something to Headlamp GitHub. You
Mm.
know, maybe next week or next week in 2 weeks or so. So we have something, to get going, to get the opinions from from the Headlamp community, Headlamp maintainers, as suggested by Kahil, and that will be a great first step. And please, whenever you're ready, please submit your contribution to the dashboard UI. We're definitely not getting rid of that anytime soon. So we look forward to that as well, and we can take that part and then maybe bring it to Headlamp as well and see how things converges eventually down the road. Okay. Well, did you want to mention something? I think you wanted to say.
No, no, I didn't have anything.
Yep. Let's try to if we can get a PR, submit it under Headlamp GitHub, that would be pretty awesome in 2 weeks. And then we can continue the conversation then. Okay, August, I'm gonna pass it to you to perhaps wrap it up.
Cool. Well, I mean that's terrific. Now, I guess let's bring this into the lab. So I'll get the maintainers. We can all have a look and this very basic thing so others can play with it. I think that feels good. The only other question I had, Mike, and it's not related to this, is how and for the team, how are we tracking with 1.3? It feels like we're moving along. I've seen lots of activity. How is that? How's that feeling?
1.3 is looking great. The last major, maybe the second last major PR has been merged on the add-on on the adopting the beta add-on on the OCM
Yes.
side. So we're gonna have to update the cluster admin as usual, the CLI to v1.3 and consume the latest OCM 1.3 version. And then we're probably looking at next week or next week at the actual release, like when we actually generate the release and publish the website. And I think that falls kind of in the estimation anyways. When I mentioned to Anne, we were looking at mid-May, maybe a little bit after mid-May. So Anne, are you okay with that release schedule? Do you think that makes sense?
Yeah, that works for me. I guess, are you asking in terms of pushing any, you're not waiting on the dashboard changes,
No,
right?
no,
Yeah, that's fine. I think I
okay.
just wanted to resync like our own fork, so I just wanted to know when is a good time to get 1.3 in as well, rather than do it for 1.2 and 1.3.
Okay, I see. August, does that work for you as well?
Yeah, that's good. We have another, I put it in Slack too, a PR for some of the dynamic scoring that I'd love to get the maintainers to review. I might, but that's in Slack. We don't need to cover that here specifically. But it'd be good to get that in as well because the community members already submitted that, so that's exciting. But yeah, this feels good. Be great to have that in time. I think we will in time for the Tokyo KubeCon. We'll have a good presence in Tokyo. I'll be there, and a few others, and so hopefully others who can or watching the recording, if you're there, it'll be good to catch up, have a few drinks or whatever, just conversation. So. Yeah, so that's good. So I'm excited to see 1.3 moving along. And yeah, and all the dashboard stuff is still very, let's just see where it goes. We don't have to peg it to any releases. It's just good to have it out there in the community. So I actually really agree with what you're saying there. So it's really nice. Yeah. But yeah,
Okay.
that's about all I have. Yeah, this is good, Mike.
No, this is really great. So anyone have any other final thoughts, comments on anything?
Yeah, Mike, I
Yeah.
opened another topic to the agenda. Did
Oh,
you
I didn't
notice that?
see. I'm so sorry about that. Yes, please take it away.
Oh, and let me share. As we as each release OCM, we have released a Helm chart to our Helm chart repo. And for the community operator hub, we need to release the class manager and class light operator to the community operator hub manually. I own this part of job. But I'm wondering if we to do a survey again to see if there any user to use the operator hub, community operator hub. I'm not sure we should do this. But for some personal reasons, I cannot continue to do this job. So if we want to continue release the operator to the operator hub, we need to volunteer to continue do this job.
Yeah, I completely agree, and we definitely have people that can take over this work. So can I take a look at the cluster manager, the operator page? Yes. So I noticed that it's in v1.1.1. So we didn't do one for the 1.2 release, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I forgot
Oh,
to
okay.
release.
And
I'm
and
sorry.
no, it's not. I was not asking you to do it, or I was saying why didn't we do it? I was just
So
I
so
was
I,
actually I'm actually making
so
a statement that no one is complaining about it. So
I'm
yeah,
wondering if we need to continue release this to
yeah.
the operator hub. Maybe if no one use this operator hub operators, we can do not need to update this. I'm not sure. If we have Helm chart for the two operators, maybe we can suggest user to use our Helm chart.
I think Z-Way, we're gonna talk if anytime that you have, whenever you have some time, let's connect in Slack. I want to know if there's any credentials or anything that I'm missing from doing this work, regardless of
Uh,
us deprecating it or not deprecating it. I feel like if there's anything regarding access, like please, let's get that resolved, and then you don't have to worry about maintaining this. I mean, we will we will take it over for sure. But thank you so much for
yeah,
bringing this up.
yeah, great. I'll help you.
Yes,
In the Slack. Yeah.
no, that's great. That's absolutely great. Thank you so much. See you.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that was a very important topic. So thank you again, Ziwei, for bringing that up. I'm gonna try that again. Any last comments, feedback? Okay, thank you all for joining, and hopefully see you all in 2 weeks. Take care,
Cool.
everyone.
See everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.